So my name is Blair Thomas. I'm Vice President of Client Services at Columbian Logistics Network in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We are an asset-based third-party logistics provider. We've been around for more than 100 years, so a legacy family-owned business. We ran multiple other WMSs in our history, but we went to market in 2017 and went live in early 2018 with Synapse. I've been with the company since the summer of 2010, so a little over 12 years now. And in my role as VP Client Services, I own all of our technology programs. I own all of our customer integration and project office, as well as our process improvement training, continuous improvement, and industrial engineering. So all those customer-facing corporate groups. How has Synapse helped us meet our operational goals? One of the big reasons we went to market looking for a new WMS was the need to both deepen and broaden our ability to bill customers. The old days of a single storage charge, a single handling charge, and a whole single generic accessorial charge, those are gone, right? And so one of the big things we loved as we went to market and we loved about Synapse, the product itself, was the idea of the billing events. So that's one of the features we use heavily all throughout our business. And we were able to finally match the work that we do for clients with the ringing of the cash register for those clients at the time of the service being provided. So it allowed us to stay much more focused on capturing all the revenue that we were entitled to, and with a direct improvement in financials. It was what we found was there was a fair amount of money slipping through the cracks because of old things like extra charge sheets not being filled out properly. So Synapse helping us grow, it's funny, what we've found is the onboarding of smaller public warehouse clients is far easier than it was on previous WMSs, but that's really just the baseline beginning, right? So when we look at the growth we've had, what we've been able to do is show and demonstrate our use of Synapse as an operating differentiator, right? So we landed a big contract manufacturing client in 2020, and they originally came to us talking about trying to do a geographic move and have the warehouse closer to the plant production and those sorts of more functional differentiators, but they weren't unhappy with their existing provider. Once we showed them, obviously, that we met those criteria from a geography standpoint, and then showed them what we do in Synapse, that was the eye-opener that said, oh yeah, this really makes all the sense in the world. So we were able to onboard them, and they've been a fantastic client ever since, and we're continuing to talk about growth with them. So our customer relationships, when it comes to their experience and the impact of Synapse on those customer relationships, we've really seen it grow in three ways. First was our ability to turn around customized reports just from the availability of data became a lot easier, and we're turning around a lot faster. So we're really legitimately wowing customers now with how fast we can turn around from a baseline report, a couple of tweaks on our end, to really meet the customer's information need. I love to tell customers, if your information needs are ever unmet, don't let that be the reason you leave. Tell us, right? You got to tell us out loud, and we're able to meet those needs so much faster than we used to. Similarly, the EDI capabilities in Synapse, as well as our integration partners, allows us to meet the data integration needs of our customers in a much more of a spectrum way, right? If they're only capable of exporting a CSV file for us, we can work with that. If they want to go all the way into an X12 EDI file type, we can work with that with them. So the integration of electronic data is not just an EDI one pitcher, one catcher world today. So yeah, that's been a lot easier to onboard with new clients. And then the last one is simply the look and feel and the relatively easy navigation of Web Synapse. It's always going to be hard to get customers to input their own orders. Nobody wants to key that sort of thing in, but it's there for you. And it's a logical thing to do. Training that to clients has gotten so much easier. Presenting them with their own custom reports has gotten so much easier. We have a lot of clients who really leverage Web Synapse. So the last piece of the customer relationship build that we've benefited from on Synapse is the use of the customer portal, which is Web Synapse. And what our clients seem to love, it's always going to be hard to get them to input their own orders, but they're certainly capable of doing that. We have a few clients who love that, right? They don't like to send emails to their provider. They want to go in, they see a confirmation, and they make sure that it's there. Especially on some of the smaller, more transactional clients, if they want to go ahead and do that, it saves our customer service reps time and effort, and ultimately saves us money. They also love the availability of their data, and the user interface in Web Synapse. What we've found is that it is a lot more logical than our previous providers and things like that. I like to talk to clients about the idea of stock and flow, right? So in Web Synapse, they're always able to look at any given time. They can query their stock, their inventory, or their flow, their throughput, right? Their receipts, their shipments. And the interface on Web Synapse it packages that nicely from receipt to inventory to shipment. And so the general flow of the interface to the availability of the data has made it a lot easier for some clients to just reduce the number of emails and phone calls that they have to make. Working with ZEFCON through the pandemic for us wasn't a whole lot different. As I said earlier, we went live in 2018, so we were less than a little over 2 years of use as a client on the Synapse product before the world shut down. And from our perspective, one of the big things we missed was the opportunity to go to user conferences and do in-person meetings with other users and meet the community of users that's out there. That was one that we really missed, but from a working with ZEFCON standpoint, not much really changed. The support didn't drop, the integrations that we were working on didn't fall away, and so from our perspective, it's a relatively smooth transition. What I appreciate about working with ZEFCON is kind of first and foremost from the executive level on our side is I'm really happy to see them engaging with the industry in the way they do. There are a number of software providers out there, but none of them participate in the industry groups like the International Warehouse Logistics Association, or put on conferences and show up at all the different industry events, which demonstrates to me a commitment to learning and a commitment to staying abreast of changing trends, because those trends are only going to accelerate. And so anybody who's not investing in staying on top of the industry is going to fall behind with their product. From my perspective, my favorite thing as at the VP level at Columbian about working with Synapse, the product itself, I've alluded to once already, is essentially the availability of data, and specifically in two ways. One is in reports development. So we are getting more and better information out of our system than we ever did before. And sometimes that's for the purposes of serving a client question. Sometimes it's for serving our own questions, right? And really truly understanding our own business better. So the ability for my report writer to collect data from any different table in the database and any different piece of the software has really moved us forward from an information perspective. And the second one is, it sounds so simple, but the right click and export to Excel. Anything you look at in Synapse, if it's a table, you can export it to Excel in a heartbeat. And people love it. Our users use it, our customers love it. If we get a really goofy one-off question from somebody, it has made our ability to answer quick questions way more quickly, way faster. So what would I tell a third-party logistics provider who's looking for new WMS and is looking at Synapse? From our perspective, having gone through the search process, we took it very deliberately. We spent most of 2016 evaluating whether a simple upgrade of our existing WMS was sufficient. We decided it wasn't. We spent the bulk of 2017 shopping, dealing with up to a dozen or so WMS providers, whittling that down to some finalists. And and then finally getting into the visits and the site visits for reference visits and things like that. And what it came down to for us, one of the things that it came down to for us was when we went to do site visits with the runner-up provider, what we saw was a whole bunch of organizations who were a lot like the company we were. And we went to do the site visits with ZEFCON. We saw a number of companies that we wanted to be. And that's where we went. And ZEFCON is an industry leader and takes that very seriously. And so makes the investments to improve both the product and the business. And so in looking forward to those businesses we want to be, that's where we went with ZEFCON.